Now, I know in hindsight, looking back at what I said about this rum, it was probably a bit stupid. Basically, this rum is the whole reason I never restocked, Probitas or Veritas. It's Veritas in the UK, Probitas in the US. Don't know what it is in Europe, but anyway. So this, the Boutiquey Rum Company signature #1, is a blend of Jamaican and Martinique rum. Now, the reason why I say it's stupid, because obviously Probitas is a blend of Jamaican and Barbados rum. And obviously Barbados is very different to Martinique. But for me, at that point, it's not that I couldn't pick the agricole vibes coming off this. It was that whole multi-country kind of thing. And all right, only 2 countries, Martinique, Jamaica versus Barbados and Jamaica. For me, I just enjoyed, I love multi-country rums anyway, but I just enjoyed the vibe that this gave me more than I did the Barbados and Jamaica for Veritas or Probitas. So that was why I never restocked. Now, I do want to revisit that. I do want to get this in, but I fell in love with this rum from the get-go. This is an exquisite rum, very well put together, and it's not something that I've thought of before, but cane juice heads might hate me for this. I think this is actually a fantastic entry point to those of you that have never had an agricole rum before, or need a little bit of loosening up to agricole rum, because I think the Jamaican vibes in this rum make it very approachable for an agricole. You do not mistake the agricole vibes in here. And if cane juice heads kind of think you do, and it's not a true reflection of like cane juice of agricole, then at our level, I'm sorry, but it is. It is. I dare say, you know, there are, once you go down the cane juice rabbit hole, you know, and get your higher aged cane juice rums, agricole rums, then I dare say this ceases to become that. But if you're tasting against a Clement 40, you know, a Rum JM 40 or 50, I think they do in there, all the sort of white unaged agricoles, I think this very much gives you shades of that agricole vibe, and then you can easily take it through. And I don't think there's anything in this rum that you can actually dislike. And this is the fantastic thing about this rum, because even on the aroma, you get both sides of the story. You get that fresh cut grass, you get the I'm just going to say vegetables. For some reason, whenever I say vegetal, vegetables come out of my mouth. So if I ever say vegetable, you know I mean vegetal. But you get that vegetable kind of aroma to it. You get, as I say, the fresh cut grass. You get the green. I get green Granny Smith apples. I get off there. I even, to a certain extent, off the top nose, get a little bit of grape. Now, the reason I say that, it took me a while to get there, but the thing that I picked off that, I got white wine. And I thought, oh, Pinot Grigio or Sauvignon Blanc, that's where I head. But then I realised, oh, probably grape more than anything. But that's kind of where that sort of sits. But as you linger with this a little bit longer, you do get the banana. You do get a little bit of tropical fruit on there. And actually on the sort of back of the aroma, you do get quite a lovely hint of vanilla. But on the taste is the same. You know, you do get, to dumb it right down, you get agricole crossed with white unaged Jamaican. It's just the only way I can describe it. You get that, you know, the green apple, Granny Smith apple. You get that sort of vegetal cut grass, herbaceousness, whatever you want to call it. You get that sort of vibe. But at the back, once the flavours have danced all over your tongue, at the back, you get that little bit of vanilla, yeah, a little bit of banana, a little bit of vanilla. You get that sort of soft, kind of inherent Jamaican funk, if you like, coming off there. And it does, I love those layered rums. It's the blend of rums, multi-country, multi-island, whatever you want to call them. I love those styles of rum. Yes, this is only 2 put together, but we'll come on to this in the nuts and bolts because it's actually 3 and not many people realise it's 3. But we'll come on to that in a second. But I love the layers that this brings. And yes, while there is a little bit of sort of peppery, tingly spice, there is nothing there that A screams poor quality or B screams, you probably couldn't sip it neat. I adore sipping this neat. This is a really great rum to sip neat, but it comes into its own with cocktails and mixes, which we'll come on to in a minute. But let's give you the nuts and bolts of this before we go any further. £26 in the UK. which translates to $32 in the US and 30 euros. Now, I'm pretty much going to guarantee, and I'd love to be proof wrong here, but I don't think I will be, that is the cheapest price that you'll get it for in the UK. The reason I say that, this is a UK company. I always shout about Master of Malt in the UK, where I buy my booze from. The parent company of Master of Malt is the same people that put this together. This is part, for all intents and purposes, this is part of Master of Malt. It is one of their brands. Boutiquey Rum Company, Boutiquey Whiskey, Boutiquey Gin. I think that's it. There might be tequila cut, I don't know, but there's definitely whiskey, gin and rum. They are all owned by Atom Brands, which is the parent company of the Master of Malt, and there is, I think, actually another parent company of Atom Brands these days as well, but that's who it's come from. So if you're going to get it cheaper in the US, I very much doubt it, but we shall see. Let us know your prices. Now the DNA of this, and this is what I love about this, because what we have is unaged agricole from Martinique. We have unaged Jamaican from Jamaica. We have an unaged agricole, we have an unaged Jamaican, but we also have a 4-year-old Jamaican. And it's that 4-year-old that I suspect gives you that little subtle hint of banana and the funkiness coming there. Now, okay, there's a little bit, as you might be able to see on the glass, there's a little bit of straw coloured going on there. So I dare say either the percentage of the 4-year-old Jamaican in this is minuscule, that has really come out of that straw colour. I mean, we're talking dramatically less than the Havana 3-year-old in there, or that 4-year-old Jamaican has been filtered. I don't know. I would suspect probably the percentage is minimal. Therefore, you put say if like 90% of that bottle is unaged agricole and unaged Jamaican, and 10% of that, you're going to get that colour. That's what I suspect, but I don't know. Pot and column still, 42, 42% ABV. The one big nod I want to give here, because this is Master of Malt, effectively, where you get it from, there are, if you are in the trade, if you are a bar, a pub, a restaurant, or, you know, you have trade accounts, this is dramatically cheaper than what general public pay, because at the end of the day, Atom Brands, Master of Malt, would love you to pour this in your pub. So it does compete pre-VAT levels. We are talking sort of 17 and a bit pounds in the UK. All right, so it is, you know, it does play in Havana 3-year-old, in, you know, in all other white cheap dead man's fingers, you know, all those sort of white unaged rum prices that you'll be buying at trade, it does compete at that level. All right, so that's it. Now, there's a couple of things I want to go through here. Pete Holland, who wears 2 hats in the UK, 2 hats in the, well, 3 hats if you want, actually. Floating Rum Shack. We've known Pete Holland for the blog Floating Rum Shack for a lot of years. I mean, a lot of years. He's been doing that. He also is the brand ambassador, the UK brand ambassador for Foursquare Rums. So he knows Dawley's and all that inside out, and will quite often do the tastings in the UK for that. But he is also a big part of the BTQ Rum Company. Brand ambassador, consultant, ideas, blends putting together, you name it, he's part of it. So these are his tasting notes. And I just want to go through these because these are the most professional tasting notes you'll ever get off this rum. And he's a wordsmith as well because of his blog. So delicately sweet and incredible, this is the aroma, delicately sweet and incredibly fresh and fruity nose opens up with canned sugarcane juice. I don't know what the difference between canned sugarcane juice is and sugarcane juice. We'll leave that one to Pete, but canned sugarcane juice, conference pears, foam banana sweets, then dried pineapple rings with a little water. That's what that is. Watermelon. Oh, he's bang on with the water. Wow. There was a little thing in there that I couldn't quite pick. And that's what it is reading this back. Let's just carry on. A little watermelon and a touch of pink grapefruit and tartness. Green notes appear underneath with black olives, classic Martinique grassiness, and a hint of seaweed and some eucalyptus leaves. Now, do I 100% agree with that? No. My palate isn't even remotely close to going anywhere near that. Eucalyptus leaves? No. Seaweed? No. Grassiness of Martinique? Yeah, I get the Martinique. I kind of understand what that's all about. Black olives? No. Green notes? Apple. That's what I kind of get for the apple. Pink grapefruit? No, off there. The watermelon, yes. Pineapple, a little bit with that sort of banana going on. The Jamaican, that's kind of what I get there. Conference pears, again, I went sort of apple. And then come back to that sort of canned sugarcane, whatever that means. I don't know. But that's the aroma palette. And then on the tasting palette, pear drops, pineapple and banana bread developed with the nose before some vanilla and oak appears alongside green apples, white grapefruit, stewed winter fruits, salted caramel with a little heat of spice and from the ginger root. Finishes a touch of funky agricole, joins a prickle of black pepper, spice, more olives, kiwi fruit and sugarcane sweetness. Again, sugarcane sweetness, yes. Kiwi fruit, no. Olives, no. Black pepper and ginger, that's again what I kind of get from the sort of, yes, I'd agree with the spiciness. I don't really pick ginger. Black pepper would kind of what I go with there. Salted caramel is interesting. Now I've read it, I kind of understand exactly what that vibe is. I wouldn't have picked it, but I kind of understand it now. Stewed winter fruits, no, it's apple for me. It is apple. Again, I don't get the grapefruit, but I kind of want to emphasize this is more definitely on the fruity floral end of the spectrum as opposed to the woody, roasted, rounded kind of end of the spectrum. Okay, that's where this plays. This for me is a cracking entry point to agricole and white unaged rum. Jamaican white unaged rum. So let's get on to the 3 questions and sum this up. Fourth question as well, the use case. So I'll kind of talk you through that. But have I got anything behind me already that's comparable? Is it value for money? And would I restock this? So to talk about have I got anything comparable and use case scenario all at the same sort of time. For me, this plays exquisitely well in a daiquiri. And I've made the daiquiri and it's over there, but it's a fantastic daiquiri. Hang on a minute. Sorry, it's been sitting there for 12 minutes, but it's absolutely fine. Oh, it tastes good. It's an exquisite daiquiri. It really is. But hopefully what you've seen on this channel, especially just before Christmas 2022 and just there, I used to do a lot of cocktail debunking, making a cocktail, and then afterwards kind of debunking lots of different rums to see which was the best rum. This rum, time and time again, always came out, did so well because it just brings a different edge to cocktails. It combines agricole with Jamaican rum. So anything that calls for a white unaged rum or a light unaged rum, you've got both sides of it there. If it calls for like a lighter Spanish style rum from the Dominican Republic or Puerto Rico, it can play in that field. If it calls for something like a Demerara, a Guyana, a Barbados, a Jamaican rum, unaged rum, it plays in that field quite well. If it calls for a cane juice, agricole in a cocktail, it plays there. But the thing that it does, whichever world it plays in, it adds a different dimension to it. So if it plays in the agricole world, it'll bring that Jamaican vibe. If it plays in the Jamaican vibe, it'll bring that agricole vibe to it. It's a fantastic rum and I absolutely love it. So going back to that, have I got anything behind the bar already? That's why I said at the top of the video, it's a bit stupid really to kind of compare it to Veritas or Probitas, Barbados and Jamaica. Yes, you could kind of compare it in the same way that you could maybe add Banks 5 into this as well. You know, those multi-country island blends. But at the end of the day, Martinique, agricole and Jamaican is very different from Barbados and Jamaican. So is it a direct comparison? No. Have I got anything behind the bar already that you could kind of compare this to? Well, actually, yes, I do. But you need 2 rums to do it, because what you could do, let's just grab this one because it's right at the front. You could, obviously, if you've got plenty of rums behind there, all right, that's an overproof. The one I probably should get is the rum bar, the white rum bar. Blend those 2 together and you've kind of got a similar thing going on there. You've got that, but you've got it in one bottle. So have I got anything that's already comparable behind the bar? Then yes, I probably have in that sort of sense, but you kind of have to play with it. You could go probably like that. You could go Kingston 62 with an agricole like that. You know, you could do so many different ways to create a similar sort of vibe. So yes, I have got 2 rums behind me in my collection, multiples of 2 rums behind me in my collection, that I could reproduce something like that. So on that note, do I think it's value for money and would I replace it? Look, as I said, even at £26, even at Joe Public price, that is a phenomenal price for that rum. I think it punches easily at that. At trade price, it is stupid money. Absolute stupid money. It's so, so good for that price. And, you know, if you want something different on your cocktail menus, you know, hit up Master of Malt and get your trade accounts, because that is absolutely delicious. Would I replace it? Yes, 100%. Although my brain is ticking now. I'd already written yes, because I've used it so much before I've done the video. But my brain is ticking now because I've got those rums behind me. I can create my own blend of this. Do I want to faff around and create my own blend, or do I just want to buy a bottle? You know me, I'm faff free. I'm replacing this.